Oh, it's good.
Oh, yeah.
Hydrated.
I'm so
I am
hydrated.
not.
I'm ready. Let's go. All right. 3, 2, 1, go. All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to this workshop of mine. My name is Savvy. Today, we're going to talk about how we can feminize or masculinize or, androgynize our voices. So, yeah, if you are here for the first time, you probably want to pay attention to what I'm going to say next. First of all, we have to talk about vocal health real quick. When you are going to practice using your voice, you have to drink some water. A dehydrated voice is a voice that can get fatigued, and a fatigued voice that you use can then sustain damage. Damage that then can take a lot of time to recover and sometimes can't. So having water is really important for voice training, singing, voice acting, whatever it is that you want to do with your voice. Okay? Now, some substances that you might take, such as alcohol or coffee, can be dehydrating to the voice. Of course, that goes without saying. Smoking also can be harmful to the voice as it can dry the voice quite well. Now, certain medication that you might be taking, such as spironolactone, for some of us, we do take this hormone blocker, that is known to dehydrate the body a little bit. So no fear, at the end of the day, you can do anything you want for your body. Just be sure not to take the medication and then right afterwards get into practice. Try to work around that. If you take your medication or any substance in the morning, then prefer practicing your voice in the evening, stuff like that. All right, so that's the little health checkup thingy warning thing. All right, now next thing is, what is voice exactly? I see some new faces, so for those who have never been here before, this is what voice is. Voice is very simple. We have air in our lungs. We push that air up towards the source. The source is actually right behind your Adam's apple. Some of you might or might not have that bump here. It might be more or less prominent, but that bump here pretty much houses the larynx. Behind the larynx, you'll find little flaps that we call vocal folds. And these can vibrate sometimes hundreds of times per second. So it's really important that you keep them well hydrated and warm up before doing any strenuous voice work. We'll get back to the warm up part afterwards, okay? Now, once we push the air up there, the vocal folds vibrate. They create what we call a source sound, and that source sound will then bounce up, reverberate in this space. It will resonate in this space that we call the filter. We also call this the resonant chamber because it is what it is. It is a space for your voice to reverberate, bounce around in. And so, of course, if that space is really big, you'll get a really dark, really masculine sound, and if that space is really small, on the contrary, you'll get a much brighter, much more feminine leaning voice. And that is pretty much the biggest part that we want to be changing about our voices, okay? Now, with that said, let's talk a little bit about vocal warm-up. I did mention it a little bit here before, but here's what we're going to do. I'm going to do a little exercise. You can unmute your mic for that time and do it alongside me. I'll first go do the exercise, then I count to 3 and you can mimic. All right? Let's start with a gentle O sound. Oh. And you go in 3, 2, 1. And back down. Very good. Awesome. Let's try a different sound. Z as in zoo. I go first. And you go in 3, 2, 1. All right, very good. Awesome. That's the kind of warm-up that you can be doing. What we did here with the O sound is we used the roundness of the lips to kind of stop the airflow a little bit, making it a little bit easier on your vocal folds. With the Z sound, we put the tongue and the teeth in the way, which created a pressure in the mouth space that counteracts the pressure in the lungs, meaning that the vocal folds have a much easier time to vibrate, or at least to warm up. Okay, that is pretty much it. So now let's get into the nitty-gritty of what these workshops are about. As per usual, I'll be having up on stage 2 people who want to masculinize their voices and 2 people who want to feminize their voices, starting once again, drum roll, with mask voice. All right, if you are interested, raise your hand, jump in place, or you can also use the hand emoji. All right, anyone interested in masculinizing their voices? I see nobody. Okay. Maybe the elusive. Maybe we'll try something different today. Maybe the elusive, androgynous person who wants to practice some voice androgyny. Anyone interested? Or is this going to be just a femme voice workshop?
We have a lot of girls here.
Yeah, looks like it. I mean, I see some guys. I see them boys. I don't know. All right. So I guess not. I guess I'll just start. Maybe someone will join later in. I'll just start with femme voice. If you're interested in feminizing your voice, please raise your hand. Okay. Yes, I see you, Knight's Child. Yes. All right. Come up on stage. Come on. Applause for Knight's Child. Oh my. Oh, well, you're bumping into a lot of things.
I am?
A little bit. All right. Come closer. Don't be afraid. I'm not going to bite you. All right. Hello there. We got 10 minutes starting from now. Let's go. All right. Hello, Knights. Is that what I call you? Knights or child or Knight's Child?
Just Knight.
Yeah,
Knight
all right.
works.
Awesome. All right, welcome, Knights. Let's get started. What do you already know about voice in general? Like, is this completely new to you, or have you already done some voice work on your own before?
I've already done some voice work on my own. And I have a bit of a background in music, so some of this theory isn't new to me.
That's awesome. So you know pretty much about pitches and all that good stuff. That is all
Yeah.
pretty much common knowledge for you. Okay, gotcha. When it comes to using your voice as an instrument, is that something you've done much of?
Just a little bit of practice on my own. I played trombone, so it doesn't carry over super well, but
It kind
the
of
breath
does.
work and breath control
Yes.
does.
Yes, exactly. I mean, in the case of trombone, you have to like use a lot of air because you have to like be able to vibrate that insanely big acoustic chamber. Now, you know, for femme voice, you might want to actually be using less of that air, but still, you have somewhat of a control of the airflow, so that will be interesting to look at. All right, have you already practiced some kind of voice on your own before, or is it completely new?
I have. I haven't done a whole lot of workup today. But I can raise my resonance reasonably well. I think.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, we'll take a look at that together. How about you just show me your pitch range for starters? Like, let's see how high and how low you can go. Give me like a slide from like your lowest to like your highest. Okay, very good.
I can go a little bit higher, but it's hard.
It's fine. You're going up to G sharp 4. It's more than enough to be within feminine range, so you're good. All right, so now about resonance. You know a little bit about the theory. You did say that you already practiced raising resonance a little bit. So what exercise do you go by, if you do any, or do you kind of like just go by ear?
Mostly I go by ear. Um, I'll usually practice dropping resonance down and then pushing it up. Um,
All right.
Dropping
So
it
how
down is
does
definitely a lot easier, but
That's fair. Dropping it low, it's pretty easy. Yeah. Some orc
Yeah.
voice. Zhug zhug. More work.
okay? So let's see. Let's start first with some voiceless practice. I want to hear you say, "Pat that cat" on a whisper, a dark whisper.
Pat that cat. Pat that cat.
Very good. Let's climb up.
Pat.
Pat, 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 pat.
Pat. Pat. Pat. Pat. Pat.
Very good. Pat. Now try and hold that ass down a little bit. Pat that cat.
Pat that cat.
Very good. Awesome. And now from there, pat that cat. Ah. Pat that cat.
Pat that cat.
pat that cat.
Nice. Okay, let's go. That's it. You're right there. Pat that cat. Awesome. Let's try reading some sentences with that. Is it a bird here in the background? I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's my cockatiel.
I shall discuss with the bird later. Woo! Yeah, nice. Okay, sorry. Let's get back to practice. Yes, so can you see the sentences on the board?
Yep.
Awesome. So now I want you to go back to pat that cat, okay? Pat that cat.
Pat that cat.
And then can we read the sentence? That mad brat sat on that flat mat.
That mad brat sat on that flat mat.
Careful there. That mad brat sat on that flat mat. Okay? Maybe that dropped a little bit in resonance. That mad brat sat on that flat mat. So try to go slow. We did that mad brat really well. So that mad brat. If you need to, you can try
Sat.
sat, sat, sat. And then say sat. Give that a try.
Sat, 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 sat. That mad brat sat on that flat mat.
Nice, killing it. Awesome. Now let's try and change the intonation a little bit. Let's try to go da 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 da. That mad brat sat on that flat mat. Give it a try.
That mad brat sat on that flat mat. Sorry, I can't.
Ooh, that was tough. It's okay. You did really well up until that. You need some water?
Yeah, I'm getting some right now.
Nice, me too. All right, pog for water.
Yep. Gotta stay hydrated.
Gotta stay hydrated. Hell yeah. Okay. So, now let's get back to this. Okay. Pat that cat.
Pat that cat.
Very good. That mad brat sat.
That mad brat sat
Very good. On that flat mat.
on that flat mat.
Okay. That mad brat sat on that flat mat.
That mad brat sat on that flat mat.
Awesome. Let's start from here. That mad brat sat on that flat mat.
That mad brat sat on that flat mat.
Very good. Solid. Now let's just try and do a normal intonation. Let's try first low, high, low. That mad brats sat on that flat mats. Give that a try.
The mad brat sat on that flat mat.
Very good. And now let's emphasize that mad brats in one single group of word, then sat, accent on the verb, and on that flat mat. It should sound something like that mad brats sat on that flat mat. Give that a try.
That mad brat sat on that flat mat.
Careful there. I feel like it wasn't quite an intonation. It was a more complex one. So that mad brat sat on that flat, and careful there at the end, mat. I feel like it went too low in pitch, and it kind of like added more thickness. Mat instead of mat. So you want to be extra careful with lower pitches, as they generally can emphasize more of the masculine components that your voice kind of has ingrained in the behavior. Typically, hear more vocal fold mass. Let's try this one again. Chunk by chunk, that mad brat.
That mad brat.
Let's try this again. Da, 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 da. That mad brat.
That mad brat.
Awesome. Sat.
Sat.
Careful. Sat. Starting to get a bit thicker. Try to make it softer. Sat. Sat.
Sat.
Better. Good. On that flat mat.
On that flat mat.
Awesome. That mad brat sat on that flat mat.
That mad brat sat on that flat mat.
Awesome. Yay. That's it. That mad brat sat on that flat mat. Woo. Awesome. Okay. That's my alarm. It's super quiet, but there we go. Okay. Good job. I don't know if you feel like you didn't have a baseline voice before this, you definitely do now. Yeah. What do you take away from this, Knights?
I mean, it's definitely nice to hear that the practice I've been doing is actually seeming to be in the right direction.
Yeah, just start using that voice now, you know?
Yeah. Thank you.
You are welcome. What I would recommend here as little tips for the future is to definitely be aware and careful with lower pitches. As you hit them, you might increase the vocal fold mass a little bit, especially because, I'm not getting like a super thick voice from you, but it's definitely like up there. Like you have like a lot of strength in your voice, I can tell. Probably from like all that practice of trombone.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Anyways, very good stuff, Knights. Applause for Knights. You did amazing. All right. Now. I see a few more people, maybe. I don't know. I'm bad with numbers. Is maybe anyone interested in making their voices more masculine, perhaps? If you're interested, raise your hand, jump in place. Yes, we have someone. Death Rose Ruma. Yes, that's right.
What?
Come up on stage. Come on. All right. Applause for Death Rose. That could be like a medley name, you know? Kinda. All right. Hello.
Hello.
All right. Let's get started. We got 10 minutes starting from now. First time here? Complete newcomer? Or is this something you already kind of know about?
Yes, this is my first time here.
All right, welcome. Are you familiar enough with the terminology that we're using here, or do you want like a little catch up? I don't know, because I didn't see you before the start of the session.
No, I'm not familiar with it.
All right, let's make this super simple. What is it that you want to achieve? A masculine voice, right? So we have to ask ourselves, Yeah, sure, there is social components to the voice that exist, but we're not here for that. We're here to mimic the effects of testosterone, because that is what generally genders most people's voices as masculine. Let's talk about what are the three main factors that make testosterone-affected voices, well, masculine sounding. First of all, if you start with like your voice before testosterone might sound like this. And then the first thing that happens is the testosterone makes your larynx drop. Ow!
So it results into a much darker, much more hollow voice. Then the second thing that testosterone does is it makes the vocal folds that are vibrating really fast at high pitches become longer, meaning that they now vibrate at lower pitches more easily. And then the third thing that we want to take into account is that testosterone generally increases muscle growth, and that also is true for the vocal folds, meaning that you will get then a much buzzier, much boomier, fuller voice.
And that are the three things that testosterone does to your voice. With the trans femmes out there, we're trying to negate that. In your case, we're trying to mimic that. It might be a bit more difficult, but you never know. You've never tried anything with your voice before, right?
No, I have
So
not.
we'll see what's there available. So there's several things we can do. We can try and get you to a lower pitch. We can try and get you to be at a somewhat thicker sound by motivating the, not muscle growth, but more so the muscle engagement of what's already there. And we can try, and that's probably the one that will work the most, hopefully, is to get your voice to be a lot darker. All right, let's first get started with your pitch range. I kind of want to know what your pitch range is, but before we do this, I need you to change something on your VR chat settings. Please go to the quick menu, the audio menu, and then you want to scroll down a little bit. Find mic activation thresholds, and you want to put it all the way down to 0%.
The what?
Right above the mic activation threshold, or the sound activation threshold? I don't know. My VR chat is not in English, so
Oop.
there is noise suppression. Did you find that?
No, I don't see that.
Are you like in the small menu or in the big menu?
I'm in the small menu.
Yeah, so like you have the sound icon, right? On the small menu at the bottom tab.
Oh yeah.
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 And then scroll down until you find the microphone category. And then you have the option to turn off noise suppression.
Yeah, my noise suppression's already off.
All right, and you have a mic activation threshold. How many percent do you have on there? It's right below noise suppression.
It's at 5% here.
Put it at 0%, please.
Okay.
All right, we should be good, hopefully. All right, let's start this. Give me a slide from your highest pitch down to your lowest comfortable pitch.
Oh.
Oh my god, hold on. My dog's barking. Okay.
It's okay, no worries.
Oh. That?
Oh, what's the pitch here? Ooh, G3, okay. Do you want to try another one? Oh.
Oh.
Ooh, okay, that went lower than G sharp 3, sorry. Ooh, okay, very good. Now from there, can you hold the pitch there a little bit and like, ooh, oh, 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 oh.
Oh. Oh. Oh. Oh.
Oh, okay, you're here. Oh.
Oh.
Okay. Oh.
Oh.
Nice, let's keep going. Oh.
Oh.
Oh. Oh.
Oh.
Nice. Oh.
Oh.
Yeah, let's keep going. Oh. oh. Yeah, the problem is like you're resetting every time at the oh, working up again every time. Oh, we want to go oh.
Oh.
Okay.
That.
Oh, yeah. So right now we're like around G3. So I feel like your pitch 4 is around G3. Okay, that is pretty high, but some mask voices can be up there.
Oh, I mean, technically, you like could talk like this at this pitch if you max out all the other components. So it's technically possible, you know. Like, I don't know. Would you qualify this as a masculine voice or as a feminine voice?
Sorry, my intonation is still very femme-leaning, so scratch that. But you know. Anyways, all right. Now I want to see maybe resonance will help you unlock perhaps lower pitches, and if not, it will definitely get your voice to sound a lot closer to a masculine voice objective. So let's give this a try. Give me pat that cat on a bright whisper, like pat that cat. Give it a try. Awesome. And now let's make that darker. Pat, 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 pat. Nice. All right. Pat. That's your last one. Then from there, pa, pa, pat. Okay, let's try a slide. Okay, and then from there, pat that cat. Careful there.
Sorry,
You did.
I think yeah.
Yeah. You heard it soon. Give it another try. It's still a little bit like you are doing pat that cat. So you're kind of like pa, pa, pa. So you're like you're doing this like low, high, medium kind of. So they're not exactly on the same level. Okay, let's see. What if you put your hand on your neck? Can you feel the bump there? A little bit?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. That's really positive. So now if you do a really bright pat, can you keep your hand there? Keep your hand there. And now do a really bright pat. Pat that cat. Pat that cat. Awesome. You feel it being really high, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now as we go down, you should feel it go down. Give it a try. Nice. And now you notice that you're being a lot more stable with it. Pat that cat. No longer pat that cat. You know? So keeping that brightness, or rather here, darkness, really stable and consistent is really important for us to keep towards, towards a like darker sound, a more masculine leaning sound. Okay? And from there, let's see. Oh, can you match my pitch here? Oh.
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 Yeah, sorry, that's my dog.
Does he also want a voice train?
I don't know.
Maybe, I don't know.
Who knows?
So, anyways, all right. Oh,
Oh.
good. Oh,
Oh.
yeah. Oh, that's really good. Okay, keep it there. Oh, try to hold it for a long time. Oh. Oh, okay. Oh, and from there you want to keep that pitch. Oh, and then do pat, pat, pat,
pat that cat.
Scary.
give that a try.
What was that again?
Okay, several steps. First, we want that low pitch. For us, it's G3 here. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. And then from here we go. Pa, 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 pa. We bridge the dark pat into that darker sound. Okay.
Okay. Sorry, I'm sorry.
It's okay, it's fine. Um, uh, okay, it's totally fine. Don't worry. I feel like we're getting a bit distracted with all the dogs and birds and what a session this is. Okay, so all right. So okay, after me. Pats.
Paw, pat that cat.
Oh, pet that cat. Something like that.
Okay, it was kind of like that, but the bridging was not quite doing all the steps. You want to have. Okay, sorry, I'm sorry. I know you're completely new to this, so it's complicated, but basically, here, what's happening is you're starting on the whisper, right? The vocal folds are not closed. We're trying to close them and use the whisper as a tell for how bright or how dark we are. Let me show you this. On the same pitch, see, the bright whisper gives me a much more feminine sound. Now, what happens if I make the whisper much darker, but still on as a pitch?
I have a lot darker sound, even though it's the same pitch.
Right? So what you would want to practice here is, okay, comedic exit, okay? So yeah, anyways, I don't know what's up today, shenanigans. Anyways, now, hey, for the recording, give some applause for Death Rose, who died on us. All right. Okay. It's fine. It's fine. All right. So now, anyone. I'm gonna keep asking. Anyone wants to masculinize their voices? Anyone interested? Jump in place. I'm scanning for mask voice users. I even saw someone despawn from being scared of doing mask voice practice. All right, we have no one. All right, I guess we're doing 3 fem voices today. All right, hooray. Okay, I saw you jump a lot. Spot 0, yes, you want to feminize your voice?
What? Huh?
All right, come up on stage. Applause for Spot 0. All right, hello, welcome. You're the lucky 3rd fem voice person. Hi. Oh wow, you're tall. Hello, nice Crocs, by the way. I just got it pointed out.
Thank you.
Let's get started. 10 minutes from now. Welcome. Call you Spot. Call you 0.
Spot.
Spot is good? All right. So, first time here, or you're going to hear around a little bit?
Wise.
Okay,
I've
I
come to
need...
lessons a couple times.
Okay, so let's see. I want you to please change your mic settings so that you don't have any noise suppression and that the mic activation threshold is all the way down to 0%. All good? Yeah. Awesome. So for now, what I want you to do is give me a slide from your lowest pitch up to your highest pitch. Give it a try. Okay. Whoop. There's quite a gap though there. So let's try this again, but let's go slow before it breaks. Okay, so like, oh, I think it broke around here, and then, oh, try to push it really slowly up. Give it a try. Of course, water. Okay,
Actually,
before that, yeah, sorry.
I
We're
think
gonna
I
say?
actually just might not be using my vocal cords. That just might be me using my throat to whistle.
Oh, you're doing first whistle? Like, I don't know how to do them anymore. It's been a long time. But yeah, no, not... Okay, yeah, I think that's... You might, like, struggle here to, like, get into, like, a gentler softer, like M2 kind of sound. So basically, your vocal folds can behave in many different ways. The way we're talking in right now, that's the modal voice. And if you go up there, that's the falsetto or the M2 voice, right? And that's a whole higher range that if you're not acquainted with, might take some time to practice with. It's okay though. We can do a lot without going to those really high pitches. So let's get started. I want you to give me a whisper on pat that cat. Something like,
Ah, pat that cat.
give it a try.
Pat that cat.
Awesome. Now let's go brighter.
Pat.
Pats, pats, pats.
Pat, 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 pat.
Awesome. And from there, pat, pat, pats.
Ah.
Interesting. What happened here? Ha. It was like a really big, quick jump into ha. So we basically skipped the whole other part. Which is, here we're on the whisper when we do the whisper siren. Right? When you were doing you ended up in a balanced sound. We want to have the breathy sound in the middle so that we can pay attention and listen to the whisper, right? So if we have right? You can hear it on the breathy sound if your resonance is bright or dark. If this happens, then you're getting darker. Okay, that's a lot better. But you notice you did go a little bit darker, okay? Let's try something else. How about we do try to climb up the resonance. Yes. Give it a try. Okay. Let's try this on the pat word.
Pats.
Pats. Pats. Pats.
Pat, pat.
The first pat was so good. What happened? Pat and pat. Then you kind of dropped really quick,
I-
but you had that first pat was really good.
Oh, what? I think it might be important to mention that I do have like I do have bit of practice a bit. It's just
Yeah, that's
not
good. That's awesome.
refinement.
Mm-hmm. Okay, let's talk about this then. I want to kind of like see then. Let's get into reading a little bit. All right. How about you go ahead and give me a bright pat that cat. Pat that cat. Give it a try.
Pat that cat.
Okay. Pat that cat. All right. What's up
Pat
here?
that cat.
Yeah. Oh, let's go a little bit higher. Da da da. Let's go up to F sharp 3. Pat that cat.
Pat that cat.
Very good. I do feel like you still could have a little bit of a brighter sound. You're like, not like pat that cat, but more like pat that cat. It's like a more darker femme voice, but still a femme
Pat
voice, I would
that
say.
cat.
Very good. Now let's read that first sentence. Pat that cat. That mad brat sat on that flat mat.
That mad brat sat on the flat mat.
Wow, that's really good. Okay. Now let's try and go up in pitch. That mad brat sat on that flat mat.
That mad brat sat on that flat mat.
Okay. Da, 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 da. Around C4, it's where it starts to break. And remember, that's the pitch that you actually broke at when you were doing the right? The slight up in pitch. So be careful when you reach those higher pitches. All right, and now let's go down. That mad brat sat on that flat mat.
That mad brat sat on the flat mat.
Careful there. That mad brat sat awesome on that flat mat. And around there it starts to drop a little bit. Let's try this again. Just do that mad brat sat. Stop, pause, and refocus. We're going to go lower in pitch, so we might be more likely to hit darker sounds. Sat on that flat mat. Give it another
That
try.
mad brat sat on that
Sat.
flat. Sat.
Oh, da. Okay, I'm not helping you here. We are going to really low pitches. My bad. Okay, match my pitch here. Ah.
Ah.
Ah. Ah. Ah.
Oh.
Ah. 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 Ah.
Oh. 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 Ah. Ah. Ah.
Ah. A little higher. Yes, we sing in unison. Awesome. Okay, and from there, that mad brat sat.
That mad brat sat.
Not quite. Da. Okay, so we need to start in the same pitch. That mad.
That mad.
Yes, that mad brat sat.
That mad brat sat.
Okay, that mad brat. Okay, we dropped again. It's okay, it's okay. Practice makes perfect. Reaching for higher pitches, especially if you're not used to them, can be a bit tricky. So, da, you generally start around G3 when you're trying to mimic A3. It's okay. That will be part of your practice thing to do, to like practice higher pitches, get more comfortable with them. Yeah, I would definitely recommend, if that's something you've not already done, to get like a voice pitch monitor software to like get what your voice is doing, kind of like check it for yourself, see where you are at, and help you track how you're progressing with using your pitch. Okay? Now, with that said, that mad rat sat on a flat mat, you're doing really well on monotonous, you're doing really well as we climb up in pitch, but as we go down in pitch, that's where it starts to get a bit tricky. I'm not entirely sure if it's the behavior of just going down in pitch that messes you up, or if you're being tripped up instead by that mad rat sat on that flat mat, by the pitches that get a bit too low for a femme voice, right? Let's take another look at it. I want you to do it like you did before, or just do your best attempt here. That mad brat sat on that flat mat. Oh, after you're done drinking. Delicious water. Wait, that's how you pour. That's not how you drink. Never mind. Okay, so. That mad brat sat on that flat mat.
That mad brat sat on the flat mat. Or going.
Oh, okay. Okay, you fixed the problem for a good reason. So you did that mad brat sat on that flat mat. So by asking the question, you saved yourself from the lower pitch. Okay, try it again, but only go down. Da 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 da. Okay.
That mad brat sat on that flat mat.
Yeah, that mad brat sat. And here we're already on D3. D3 is pretty low for a fan voice. That down that flat mat, and then you're going like down to B2. Okay, so let's take a quick look at this. Generally speaking, most fan voices tend to be in that area between E3 and E4. That can be above and it can be a little bit below. In your case, that we're starting here in A3 or A sharp 3 actually. That mad brat sat on that flat. And we end like on E3 on that flat mat, and then we go like down to B2, right? Which can be pretty much within the masculine range. Of course, you can be here. You can like technically talk down there and still have a feminine voice, although it will be a much more darker, more mature feminine voice. Maybe not what you want to use. Like, I like a full volume.
So
That's
something
a different
like
type of voice.
this, kind of.
Something like this. Well, here in that case, you actually are taking also the aspect of a darker sound. Practicing brighter resonance with lower pitch is generally a lot harder. This is why I try to like practice in that area, because that androgynous area can be easily masculinized or feminized, as there's kind of an overlap, okay? So take these ranges as a tip, not as a universal truth, okay? This is why I wrote common socially gendered ranges, right? Common, not the truth, okay? You can absolutely have masculine voices all the way up here, and you can have feminine voices down there, of course. Depends what you like perceive culturally as being feminine or not. So yeah, different voices for different ranges. In your case, you seem to thrive pretty well in that range. If you go around E3 and below, that's where your voice starts to lose a little bit of its quality. What I would recommend is try and hang a bit more over there. Or like you did before, and that was really nice, is you did that mad brat sat. So that mad brat sat on the flat mat. You know, you kind of like were asking a question midway. That got you up at a higher pitch and it, you know, helped you stay within that range. So intonation is key to make your voice go from robot, that mad brat sat on that flat mat, beep boop bap boop, into that mad brat sat on that flat mat, or like ups and down, etc., etc. Okay? So definitely do practice your intonation. You have a pretty solid resonance, but it is failing you at lower pitches. So there's two ways to go about this. Either you avoid the lower pitches altogether by reworking an intonation that avoids that. Okay, so don't go below E3 typically. And if E3 maybe sounds a little bit masculine in your case because of how dark it is, you might want to perhaps practice feminizing your voice, or rather brightening your voice around the pitch of E3, F3. So like your lower range gets a little bit more in tune with the rest of your range of your voice. Okay?
Okay. Thank you.
All right. You're welcome. Applause for spots, please.
Thank you.
All right. So, we don't have Twitch today, so V, how much time you got before you need to call it off? Oh, okay, cool. Tell me, do we have any Discord questions then? 2 questions. Shoot, go ahead.
First question. Rephrasing this a little bit. What can I do if I hit a resonance wall and I want to break that resonance limit?
Resonance wall. Okay, interesting. That is it's interestingly worded. What I would say is if you are hitting a resonance wall, it might be interesting for you to get into the more advanced stuff. There is several things in your voice that you can do to get it to be brighter. First of all, when I talk about brightening the voice, I only talk about the larynx height, but it's not the only component. Raising the root of your tongue. Let me try and I don't have a graph for this because I don't generally talk about this, but maybe this is better. Yeah, okay. So here, let's get a nice popping color. Okay, so here the tongue root is basically here, okay? And your larynx is below, right there. So when you raise your resonance, I suppose it's a fem voice question, right? Yeah. So as you raise the resonance, generally the larynx moves up. Generally speaking, your tongue root also moves up alongside it to sustain the larynx moving up, right? These are not things we think about consciously. These are things we do when we do those exercises. There was a time where I used to teach all those components individually, but I've moved away from it because eventually it's kind of doesn't really help you. Like sound-based exercises tend to be better. So generally there is some exercises I can do to focus on these kind of issues, to like raise the tongue root by itself. Now there's another function here that I don't have a graph of, but I should have one, which is basically the back of the mouth. If you were to look directly at the back of the mouth, you'll have 2 walls like this. Actually, I wonder, it's going to be horrible, but you know what? I really shouldn't be doing this, should I? Okay, so imagine this is the back wall of the mouth, right? You have your lips here. Oh my god. Okay, if you look at the back of the mouth, you have this, right? And these can be more or less closed. In the case of a yawn, really open. It generally also works with the whole darkening resonance thing, But if you end up, pushing them inwards, what an arrow. I'm totally not shaking. If you end up pushing them in, you get this howl, this kind of like more meaty sound. You can hear this in the Stitch voice, or Hannah means family. Family means that no one gets left behind. So like that kind of sound can happen from the back walls closing. The back walls of the mouth here we refer to as oh god, P, C. So it stands for oropharyngeal closure. Now this is something that I don't talk about too often unless it's brought up. So these are three main mechanisms that we can use to brighten the voice. Raise the larynx, raise the tongue root, and close the back walls of the mouth. Closing them too much, that's sort of this silly cartoonish voice. Not closing them enough, like kind of fails to portray like a properly super bright voice. And having like the right amount can like get you to be really, really bright. Okay? That's how I would go about working on the plateau. Looking at the small individual components that you already have worked on, but see if you can max them out a little bit more. Okay? Oh, it's not going away, is it? Okay, anyways.
Uh-oh.
So now, do you have any questions left?
One more at least. How can I raise my pitch without hitting M2?
Okay, there's a method called belting. Basically, belting is when you force your voice to stay within M1. So instead of doing the good old and softening your voice as you go up until you go into M2, right? I'm already hit there. Then what you can do is instead keep your voice really heavy and really control it through the steps. So instead of having you would have same pitch, right? And you're achieving a much higher pitch with that M1 range. Although it's gonna sound really annoying instead of like nice, So M2 here can be your friend. Of course, you can make that same M1 slide, that same belting slide, by adding more or less vocal fold mass. Generally, the one I showed you is easier to do. The more vocal fold mass you have, the easier it is to stay in M1, right? But you can try this with varying vocal fold masses. So, really heavy. Less heavy, but like still quite heavy, and generally gets quite loud because you're using like the M1 mechanism at really high rates of vibration of the vocal fold. So that can lead into a really powerful voice. Good tip for those who want to learn how to fem scream, or if you want to learn to do some singing techniques where you might want to have like a stronger voice. Okay? I hope that answered your question. All right, we have more. All right, awesome. So, do we have any questions in the audience? I'll be answering two, and then I'll be on my merry way. If you're interested in asking a question, raise your hand, just like before. Okay, Spot, you have a question? Please come closer.
I would go with this. How would you know, if or not that whenever you're talking, if you can feel your false folder vibrating as you talk?
Mm-hmm. How can you feel them?
Or like, how can you tell if they're having some effect?
Okay,
Not
the
talking
way you
about
can tell
like
they're
the
having...
guy who, not like the guy who
Yes?
does the voice for Aladdin, the parrot, but like them still
Oh, yeah.
vibrating, but you not realizing it.
Is it like the Jafar stuck scene, or like he's like, I'm stuck, or like something like that?
No,
I think, or just in
No, like,
general.
sometimes when I sing, there's a secondary vibration deep in my throat. Like
Okay.
a
So like you
false
get like
tone.
a growl, right? Like instead of right? That kind of sound.
Well, it's
Right.
in there, but yeah, something like that.
Okay, so you can tell it whenever there is distortion in your voice that you can't explain, there's a high chance that what is being involved is the false vocal folds. Now, the false vocal folds, why is it not working? Oh, yeah. Now, the false vocal folds here there are these on the sides of the true vocal fold in white. On the red here, the false vocal folds can more or less engage, right? You're not really meant to feel them. I mean, you can maybe feel like it's getting tougher to do the voice. But the false vocal folds get engaged for different reasons. Like if you're yelling, if you're screaming, if you're going louder, you might engage them, but sometimes you might not want to. Generally, it's easier to hear in a whisper. If I whisper like this, then there's no false vocal fold engaged. But if I do, then there's definitely false vocal folds engaged. Even on quieter sounds, you can have like it's almost like an old person, like right? So that kind of sound here has false vocal fold engaged. I would just generally hear like the distortion. If the airflow is like really loud for no reason, even though like you're not pushing a lot of air, then you might have a false vocal fold constriction. And as you mentioned, if you feel like there's another set of vocal folds vibrating as you sing, it might be the false vocal folds like in a kind of growl quality, instead of having just like the true vocal folds vibrate, right? But it could also be like something different, like strange vibration patterns of the vocal folds. So like you can have like a mix of vibration, like a mix of like creak and voice, like So this is like strange vocal fold behaviors that kind of like do a weird vibration of the vocal folds. We don't exactly know what they do yet, but there might or might not be false vocal fold constriction in there. Yeah, as long as you don't hear like the undisturbed, clean or full voice sound that you have, there is a chance that there's false vocal folds. The questions you should ask yourself is, does it fatigue your voice? Does it seem to be breathy? Like, do you seem to lose air through this or have too much air? And then, yeah, you should be able to tell if false vocal folds are engaged or not. Okay? That was a really long answer. Sorry. Okay, we have one last question for the people. For the people. Yes, Maple Cat? Maple, perhaps?
Maple works. I wanted
Maple.
to ask, so when I do a very high fem voice, I can still hear like a very darker undertone. Is there like a practice to like go to like get rid of it, or practice it to get it higher?
Undertone, what does that mean?
It still has like a very deeper tone underneath, I feel like.
Well, did you brighten your resonance enough?
I tried.
So maybe it's just a resonance issue, I suppose? I don't know. I mean, darkness sounds like a brightness issue. Okay, perhaps you might want to like look at, if you feel like you've done everything you can with the larynx, with the tongue root and the OPC, as I talked about before. Like you can try and maximize maybe like the brightness a little bit more. There's also the fact that you can also change you can also change here the size of your mouth space, right? So perhaps, generally when people talk about undertone, I generally tend to think that they're referring to like other components than resonance, vocal fold mass, or pitch, or something that is not yet like identified correctly. It can be something as silly as, your accent that might feel like a masculine undertone, because unfortunately, as we are trans people, we tend to like have a lot of vocal dysphoria. And I know for me it was the case where like I felt like there was an undertone, but there isn't really one. I just felt like my accent was too much, like bringing me too close to my masculine voice when it really wasn't, There's several reasons for why the undertone could happen. I don't know what yours is. I would have to like analyze your voice more in depth. But yeah. Perhaps you could show me what your voice sounds like when you're experiencing that type of undertone?
It's just when I do the practice that you do on the stage, for example, I feel like there's if I do like voice where I record it and then I play it back to myself, and maybe it's like you said, it's like with the dysphoria that I can hear it myself, but it's not for others. It's not.
Right, exactly. And there's also the fact, like, maybe, I don't know, your mask voice doesn't sound super deep to begin with. If your mask voice is really close to your fem voice, let's say, like,
Like if my mask voice is here and
my fem voice is here, then of course I can, like, really see the very strong difference between the two, right?
mask voice,
Fem voice. But what if my mask voice actually started brighter, like yours? Like,
maybe you're like not here.
that maybe your mask voice is more like this, right? And then you might have this mask voice to start off with, and you know, like maybe like a more flamboyant kind of voice, and then you're like, ashes to ashes, ashes to ashes, and here I'm already in a femme voice, but the gap is ashes, ashes. Like it's not a huge difference, you know. And so maybe like you feel like you're not far enough from your mask voice. So these are questions to ask for yourselves, for yourself in the future. And then really check out resonance, see if your accent bothers you. Maybe try to learn different accents, you know? Perhaps that helps you get rid of the undertone. Dysphoria can be a huge pain in the butt when it comes to identifying the voice. So, yeah, you might have like the most femme voice in the world and still identify like it's super masculine. That's a very common occurrence.
All right, I'll work on that.
Right. Awesome. Hope I answered that. All right. So now I'll be ending this lesson. As you might be aware of, unfortunately, Christmas times are around. I'll be busy seeing family with Christmas stuff, with New Year's Eve, and I bet a lot of you also will. So that means that there will no longer be lessons for 2024, but I'll be back on the very first week of January. So in the meantime, please do take care of yourselves. Yeah, I'll just do the little blurble of the end of the lesson thingy thing. Hey, my name is Savvy. I teach voice feminization.
Voice masculinization.
I also teach stuff such as human beatboxing with sounds such as... If you want to learn any of this, you can always shoot me a DM at Discord, at savvy_sav, all in small letters. I have a Discord server called Scientifically Augmented Voice, where I do public lessons, which you can listen into. I'm going to do a few before the end of this year, so, you know, make sure you tune in if you're interested to learn more. You can also ask questions in text over there during the session, so, you know, hop by. The link is here, and if that's too much of a bother, it's in my bio here if you click on my avatar. Now, with that said, yeah, I'll be catching you all in the next one. You take care of yourselves, have a nice Christmas, or whatever else you are going to be partying about. Nice. I hope you have like a nice transition into, get it? Transition into the next year. And I'll catch you in the next one. Have a good one, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, Savvy.
Have a nice one. Bye-bye.
Happy holidays.
Bye.
Hello there. Yeah, I was in the Discord, right? I was asking of how I was able to, because like I wasn't really able to ask the question. I'm a bit afraid to, but like I want to know because this is how I normally at least speak with my voice, at least the tone I use. I mean, sometimes I force my tone to be a bit lower when I'm like, you know, around friends IRL, but like this is normally how I am speaking, so I was just curious. Yeah.
Hi.
Okay.
Hello. How are you
How are you
doing?
doing? Doing pretty well.
I'm tired.
Same. Barely
Yeah, my
awake
sleep
over
schedule
here.
got a bit messed up.
Oh no.
They were doing stuff at the stage on the Discord, I think.
Happens.
Yeah,
Especially when
mine
you work
has
weird
definitely
hours
not
like
been great.
me.
Yeah. Do you work weekends as well?
Just Saturdays, not Sundays.
Saturdays, yeah, I see.